Brought to you by the EveryDollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
Long story short, essentially, we're in a really, drowning in debt. We've got about 50 grand in credit card debt, which we were, getting ourselves out of, and then eventually it just turned into couldn't get ourselves out anymore, and then living off credit cards, trying to put food on the table for our babies, and then about $60K in student loans. We're in a hole with our two of our Jeeps. One is a $900 payment, one's a $400 payment.
What's the full amount of the first Jeep?
$40K on that, and it's worth about 31.
Yikes.
So
okay.
we were in a bad car position, and that was what they were willing to swap us out for, and essentially just really bad situation. I'm a stay-at-home mom. My husband's a teacher. I'm going back to work in August to be a teacher, but we wanted to move out of state, and we were almost to the point of wanting to just sell our house and take all our equity and put it into paying off all the debt.
Well, let's look at it.
Feel so
Jeep number 1 is $40K, but it's worth $31K. What about Jeep number 2?
Jeep number 2, I think we have it was 45, and I've had that for a long time. We have about 17 on it.
Okay, 17. What's it worth?
And then what was that? Sorry.
What's it worth?
I think that one's only worth about maybe 15. We got.
Okay, so that's not as bad, upside down.
Yeah.
Then you said, so it's credit card, student loans, 2 Jeeps. Then tell us about your mortgage.
So our mortgage, that was the other problem. We moved about 2 years ago into this house, and thought we were going to be at one interest rate, and then right before we closed, interest rates went up, and we're at a $3,200 mortgage. And so
what's your take-home pay?
Since then, my husband makes $90K. He makes about $5,500, $400 a month.
Oh boy,
that's where the problem is. A big problem.
And so then last summer we literally were to a point we were going to buy Costco groceries, and then next day we'd have to go return our food because we had to pay bills. And so we turned to a debt relief program, and I feel like ever since then it's gotten even double worse because now our credit is so bad and we can't do anything. So it's like we don't see a light at the end of the tunnel.
You're in a hard spot right now. There's always light though, and there's always hope. So I don't want you to think that all hope is gone, because it's not. It's just going to take some time and a little bit of pain possibly and some discomfort to get out of this, but I promise it'll be worth it. So looking at all of this, tell us about your income.
So with the $5,400 a month he makes right now, when I go back in August, I was staying at home because what we would pay in childcare it wouldn't have made sense. But now with the pay raise we'll be getting as teachers, I'll be making about 70, and then we'll be spending about half my check towards childcare. So I'll be taking home a little extra.
How much do you think?
Probably about $2,000.
Okay, so that brings us up to 70. Okay, so that brings us up to $7,400, which helps this mortgage look a little better.
It helps give us some margin to pay off the debt. Because right now, what are your total credit card payments?
We put a lot of them in a program, and then now ever since we went, So but I mean, we're being, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say the word, but sued for. So we just don't know what to do. Do we pull them all out of the program? Well, they're not all in the program, just half of them are.
What is this program doing? Do they tell you, hey, don't make any payments, let it trash your credit, we'll negotiate?
Exactly.
Oh, gosh.
Exactly. And that's why we got sued, because we weren't responding, and we thought it was being handled, and then it was apparently
these companies are scummy. They're just as bad as the credit card companies, if not worse.
And we're just scared. We have a 4-year-old and 2-year-old, and we know we're taking blame, but we just don't know who to turn to. Essentially, we're kind of silently struggling right now.
Okay, so for me, the big glaring problem, this mortgage is really eating your lunch.
60% of your take-home pay is going to the mortgage. 25% of your take-home pay is going toward just the car loan payments, which is 85% of your take-home pay.
Yeah.
Which leaves 15%, and you still got to pay your student loans, the credit cards, put food on the table, cover insurance, utilities. So are you guys continually going into debt to cover the gap?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yes and no. We don't use any credit cards right now. My mom helps us.
Okay.
She helps us a couple $100 a month where she can.
Mm-hmm.
And then other than that, we've really just tried to cut out almost everything. And we've been trying to sell stuff around the house and that kind of thing.
What do you owe on the house, and what's it worth?
So we purchase price was like 616 actually, I think.
Okay.
And we owe about 460. And I think we just looked into selling, and they said we could probably list it for around 630.
Okay, that's good.
So possible, yeah.
So after fees, you might net like 140 out of that.
Yes.
Which would clear
So with that,
all of your debt almost, or at least give you enough to get rid of the cars, get different beater cars, get rid of the credit cards and student loans.
Have you priced out what it might be for you guys to rent a 2-bedroom apartment?
well, we have not, because we have 5 dogs, and most places don't
5
allow
dogs? Goodness gracious.
Okay.
What would it cost to rent a
Yes.
house?
Probably about, I think they said we could get about $3,000 a month to rent it.
That's not changing much for you guys.
No.
That's a $200
If we
difference.
sold, could we buy another house with that credit? Or is that not possible?
You can't afford to buy a house. You have to have a down payment to buy a house. And you need to have 3 to 6
Yeah.
months
And
of
your credit's
expenses to buy a
trashed.
house.
Your debt to income
Yeah.
ratio is out of whack.
Mhm.
And so you're not going to be able to
Yeah.
just go over. You need to put pause on home ownership, and we need to clean up all this debt.
And I'm going to say something highly controversial and you might just be like, Jade, forget you. Don't let these dogs keep you from doing what you need to do for your family.
If you need to rehome these
Yeah.
dogs to a wonderful family who'd be psyched to have them and can take care of them,
And you can
that's
visit
great.
them, but do not let these dogs keep you from getting in the living situation.
If
I'm talking
these
about
dogs
a home.
are eating and you can't eat because you got to return your groceries to
Yeah.
Costco, we got our priorities out of whack.
5 dogs is a lot
Yeah.
of dogs for somebody who's struggling to afford groceries.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
hate to say that
definitely.
because we love our pets, but
Can
in
you
this
give
case,
a dog to every one of your family members for the next year until you clean it up and see what's next?
Yeah. So we have about 10K in savings. Should we put those towards all credit cards?
It helps. Well, it's almost the amount you're underwater on the cars,
Yeah.
which could get you out of the car. So I might just save up until I can buy a beater car, use that money, savings plus that new savings amount, and get out of this car situation.
That's
which would
good.
free up payments.
Yeah, that'll give you a little breathing room there, but not much. That right there is excellent, but it doesn't take the place of the living situation,
I
which
think we
is
still got to get rid of
A1.
this house.
Yeah,
Ugh.
unfortunately,
So sorry,
Ugh.
Kayla.
this is tough.
No matter what's next, it's not going to be fun, but I want to get you to peace fast as possible.
Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life.